How can suppliers instill confidence in customers in the short and long term?
There's two levels to this question for me. I mean, one, as a supplier to people who supply LNG into the space. So one is as a sort of technology and service provider. One is sort of thinking about it through the shoes or the eyes of the likes of Shell, Tellurian, VG, Cheniere type company who are obviously selling LNG to different companies around the world. And so standing there, I'd say working with proven technology suppliers, working with EPC companies, people who provide technology that can underpin the performance that they are basically selling on to the customer. So they say, look, this is we have gas feed at this, we have a supply that looks like this. So that conversion factor, can we deliver a project on time, on budget, on performance? Will it continue to perform through the life cycle of its operation? And so far for us, we're in a great position that we've got a great proven track record, which also helps with financing projects, bringing projects in on time, and then working with people like Bechtel, KBR, other EPCs. The reputation and relationship that we have allows customers, our customers, the suppliers to the end off-taker of LNG, the ability to go and say, look, we're backed by very strong technology and service providers who will continue to underwrite and be able to perform, carry out the services that are required to make sure we can deliver to you on time, on budget, which is really paramount for this industry.
How can the gas companies effectively reduce costs of developing and operating gas fields?
To me, coming out of this last round, from the whole oil and gas space where economics have been incredibly challenged, we have to change the model. And there's two things. One is bringing new technology, whether that's physical technology or digital technology to bear, to really change the way in which assets perform in the future, that they stay tip-top condition. We also work forward and actually improve them. The other one is, there's a lot of inefficiency in the whole process to me. There's inefficiency where you have the customer, maybe a customer's engineer, you have third-party inspectors, you have the supply chain, there's a lot of overlap. And I think contracting models and also building trust and reliability through the organizations and through the structures that says, I hold you responsible for it, and commercially, technically, you're responsible. And I'm not going to burden it with lots and lots and lots of observers and checkers. It sounds small, but in reality, give you an example, a very simple valve. If you take a standard valve from us, maybe it would cost $15,000. By the time you actually think about all the test, inspection, hold points, and people you have to put around it, that valve may cost $27,000. So that kind of reduction is there on large scale. And then I'd say, how we work with customers, how we develop projects, how we make sure we've got the best technical solution is key. And then having a proper and open dialogue about, if you change the way you want us to do this, I can reduce cost. It reduces risk for you. Maybe you pass the risk to me, I can manage that risk better. We take contingencies out, both commercial and technical contingency, and that will make the industry far more efficient.
Could you tell us more about BHGE's turbomachinery equipment and how it is being used in Cheniere's LNG facility?
Certainly, I'd be glad to. And we work, I'd say, Cheniere is a good example of how we work very, very closely with our customers. What's their technical requirements? What's their risk? What's the commercial, how do they want the project to run? So we, with them, introduced one of our gas turbine product lines, 2500 G4, into their application. They both for the Sabine Pass operation and for the Corpus Christi operation. So they're a very big operator of our fleet today. There's a number of, we have 3 trains up and running. They're going to be over 8 million tons of export. First LNG to be exported out of the US was actually through Cheniere's operations, using our technology. And between mechanical drive application, where we're driving our compressors for the refrigerant loop, and through power generation, at the end of the day, we're going to have over 48 units installed and operational with them. Then we have a long-term agreement around servicing, which is basically a performance agreement. So you bought our technology not because you love our technology, but because it has to perform for you. So we put basically an envelope around that we guarantee both from a cost point of view and from a performance point of view. But it allows us to have a dialogue where we continue to talk about how do you best improve the technology, either from a reliability point of view, an efficiency point of view, a cost of ownership point of view, or an emissions, an environmental point of view. So we've invested, based on the fleet that we have, and for example, with a company like Cheniere, we're just bringing out into the market what would be the next revision of that turbine, which is the G4 to G5, a logical step, but we'll be able to retrofit that straight into the same package, 10% more power, or depending how they want to operate it, they could drop the power to where they are today, have lower emissions, and also have a longer service interval, so they can run the plant for longer before they would have to take it for maintenance. So we're starting, even with the technology that they take in, working with them on what's their key CTQs for performance, we can engineer different options to give them flexibility. And it's a very, very close relationship. I mean, I would say with all of the operators in the space, there's a very, very close link between what is it they need for the technology today and also for the long term, and that allows us to go back and reinvest on product and product competitiveness, emissions, reliability, performance envelopes, and then also on the digital requirements. What do they want digitally? How do they want to understand the operation of the unit? How do we help perform, either improving the performance of their overall process, or by looking at reliability? When can we help them understand when there's a risk of trip, which actually may then cause a reliability issue, and they may miss a cargo, for example. So things like that, which you go back to the point you made earlier on, missing something has got big consequences in the industry, so we can help with understanding how those can be mitigated.
What have you enjoyed most about the Gastech exhibition and conference in Barcelona?
First and foremost is it's a great opportunity for us to have one location with so many people. I mean, just walking here, you bump into people you haven't seen for maybe a year, maybe 6 months. There's always something very relevant for us to talk about. It's a great connection across everybody in the industry, in reality. So from an efficiency point of view, you see everybody in one place. The plus side of that is things move much faster. You can shorten the length of time to have a discussion with 2 or 3 different people around a topic that we all share. And also to start talking about some of the things, challenges for the future. But I think also things like, as the industry recovers, how do we make it more attractive for new talent to come in? A lot of people have left over the last 3-4 years. Projects, technical, executional capability in everybody's business. Are we really attractive to the next generation of engineers, the next generation of project managers, the next generation of thinkers that universities are graduating? How do we change that? What are we doing about ownership of our environmental profile? How are we talking about it? How are we promoting it? How are we driving it forward? Having groups like this together allow us, I think, to really start getting like-minded thinkers together and thinking about how do we really change the industry? How do we change things and move it forward faster versus trying to do it on an insulated and isolated basis?